So Web3 started showing up in a big way in 2022. But ladies and gentlemen, that was just the beginning. There is so much coming up in the Web3 space, and if you get in on it early, it could change your business for the better. So today, we're going to talk about these opportunities, and I'm going to show you how they're changing things this year. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a Web3 marketing strategist, and this is the best place for you to learn about Web3, NFTs, and how to market it all. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're into it. Comment to let me know the biggest trend that you're seeing in the Web3 space right now. I would love to know your opinion, and let's get started. So first up is decentralized social media. So this is a huge trend that's only getting bigger. You can watch this video for an overview of decentralized social media principles and kind of how it works and major concerns and all that sort of stuff. But decentralized social media right now is just exploding. I mean, more people are spending more time on sites like Mastodon and Steemit than they are on sites that have been the biggest players in the game for a very long time. There are more and more people that are just moving away from these big platforms. But why is that? Well, there are a lot of different reasons. So first, Twitter and Elon Musk. So this is an implosion that has been discussed to death. You can even watch my video here on it just to kind of get a feel for it. But I don't want to make it sound like this is just him. He is the latest and certainly the worst in a whole line of CEOs that are just bilking their users and getting everything that they can out of them. But let's not forget about Zuckerberg and Cambridge Analytica. That was pretty horrible as well, okay? But what's interesting to see here is that because this implosion has been so public, decentralized social media services that have already been around for a very long time are suddenly exploding, seemingly out of nowhere, though we understand the source. So just for an example of this, Mastodon jumped from 800,000 monthly active users in October 2022 to now somewhere around 2.5 million. That is an enormous increase. But this isn't just being spurred on by all of these implosions and people fleeing these huge sites, okay? There are actually a lot of incentives to decentralizing and moving to decentralized social media. So for example, you can easily splinter off into your real niche of interest without being flooded by a lot of information that isn't really wanted when you want to discuss that niche. Now that has its own issues. You can check out that video I referenced earlier to kind of get an idea for what those are, namely echo chambering and that sort of stuff. That's a big issue with that. But what's more interesting here is that you can earn money just for doing what you would be doing on normal centralized Facebook and Twitter anyway, okay? So sites like DTube and Steemit have launched their own coins, which you can earn through interaction. So this is going to incentivize more people onto these platforms to help these platforms and the people earn more, and everybody's going to explode along together over time. That's really the goal here. Next, let's talk about non-art NFTs. So the NFT craze, as you've probably seen, has died down significantly.
This is a ghost town. Everybody moved out.
Many NFT projects are still doing really well, but they aren't flying off the shelves the way that they used to, and they aren't getting that high demand price as they did a year ago. Okay, so for example, one of the biggest projects to date, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, has seen an 82% drop in value from what they boasted just a year ago, okay? Which makes you wonder, why is this happening? Does it mean that NFTs were some flash in the pan craze that nobody wants anymore? The answer to that in its current form is maybe. Because as I talk about in this video, utility is more and more important. People aren't interested in art for art's sake via NFTs anymore. They want to know what they get with a purchase. And this is leading naturally to less of a focus on the art in NFTs. People are looking more and more at NFTs for the sake of their utilities. And in that sense, they're becoming more like unique digital items than they ever have before. So just to get a feel for what that means, let's take 30 seconds just to talk about some of the out-of-the-box launches that are happening so you can kind of see the vast different directions this is going in, okay? So a good example to start off with is ticketing. Coachella and a few other festivals have started to accept NFT tickets. IMPT, this is a totally different topic, is an NFT version of carbon emission credits, and all of the money from purchasing an IMPT carbon emission credit NFT goes towards planting trees and greenifying the world, right? And finally, blockchain and NFTs have found their way into the medical sector by safeguarding information around transferring and maintaining health data on individuals. So these are all drastically different areas of practice, right? You've got entertainment, you've got greenification and environment, and you've got medical sector. They're all very different and they're all using NFTs. Next is greenification. So what is greenification? Well, no matter how hardcore of a blockchain advocate you are, you have have to acknowledge the huge environmental impact of the blockchain. In fact, according to earthjustice.org, between mid-2021 and mid-2022, crypto mining alone accounted for 27.4 million extra tons of CO2 carbon emissions in the US alone, not globally, in the US alone. Greenification is looking at how to fix this issue and how to reduce the carbon emissions that blockchains are creating in the world, okay? And luckily, there's been a lot of movement in this in the recent year or so, which will continue. The best recent example of this is going to be Ethereum's shift from proof of work to proof of stake. So let me briefly explain what this is. Traditionally, crypto mining is set up as a proof of work system, which means that as a new transaction is added to a blockchain, other machines have to validate and approve it. So you have to have multiple machines looking at this transaction and saying, yes, this transaction is correct. And the idea is that that strengthens the legitimacy of it because all of these machines are decentralized from each other. This often plays out with the verifying machines solving puzzles or math equations and getting rewarded for their verification, which, as you can imagine, leaves the PC running all the time and burns a lot of energy. Proof of stake, on the other hand, lets users who already own that coin put the coin up, aka stake it, to validate the blockchain transactions, okay? So every time a validation occurs using your staked currency, you receive a reward. And because that results in far fewer machines doing far less work, the energy efficiency here is enormous. Now, this is just the biggest in a large trend of crypto companies moving toward greener practices, but this is a really good big example. Next, let's talk government intervention. Now, it's not fun, but we have to talk about it, okay? Governments are always trying to regulate that which is unregulated. And they do it for two reasons. One, because they think it's dangerous. Two, because they want to be able to tax it. And here, it's a little column A and a little column B. I mean, it definitely doesn't help that Sam Bankman-Fried just committed one of the largest frauds in history by stealing money from his investors while also being the wunderkind of the crypto exchange community, right? That is not helping our case at all. And as a result, governments are more keen than ever to take a close look at regulating this space. So should you expect that cryptocurrency is going to just disappear and be regulated out of existence forever from one day to the next? No, I really don't think that's your future here. More likely, rules are going to be put in place establishing currencies, and it's going to become harder to launch a quick shitcoin from one day to the next because of those new rules. But the basic tenets of blockchain will remain, the decentralized nature and that innate privacy of the chain. That's all going to stay there. Finally, let's talk about decentralized advertising. Ads are a big part of our past, a huge part of our present, and will be part of our future as well. The advertising on blockchains is also going to be a big deal. We have to think about advertising for blockchain businesses. This is going to be of vital importance. And the reason for this is twofold. First, users are moving away from centralized platforms like the Meta Ad Network or Google Display Network. I mean, these companies are still controlling the vast majority of ad space on the web. I don't want you to think otherwise, but their ability to advertise to the users that you want has been drastically curtailed. 5 years ago, it was so simple to pinpoint almost the exact person you were looking for. But with so many scandals, they've removed a lot of the data options marketers used to be able to use to make good decisions for their advertising. Meanwhile, it can actually be easier to advertise to your audience via blockchain if you know where to look. And the second reason that this move is happening is that, simply stated, these legacy advertisers just don't support Web3 in any way right now. I mean, for instance, you can't advertise in new ways via the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg got kicked out of his own metaverse when it came to putting banner ads in games, right? That happened like a year ago. They still haven't been able to put anything in there. Or you can't advertise on Web3 domains with these big companies either. You can learn more about Web3 domains in this video, but right now I just want you to understand that you can't take a banner ad on a Google Ads site and slap it up on a .eth domain. It's just not possible. Now, there are solutions out there, and there are companies that are making millions just marketing crypto and Web3 solutions here, which means that there are opportunities for you to take advantage of as well, and those are just going to get bigger in 2023. So these 6 trends are really going to define the next year in Web3, and if you aren't involved in them in some way, I highly advise in starting right now. I hope that this was helpful for you to kind of get started and understand these trends a little bit better. Let me know in the comments the biggest trend that you see. I would love to know what you're seeing. There are always so many things to keep track of. Otherwise, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I will catch you in the next one.